Welcome to the Moon Magic Tarot channel. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's readings, we're asking your future self about the next steps that you need to take on your pathway to abundance. I'm going to say as well, whatever abundance may mean to you. I mean, it could be money, it could be finances, it could be career, it could be your calling or purpose. It could even be the love of your life coming in. It could be, you know, the dream home. Whatever abundance is for you at this moment in time, whatever you are seeking, we are asking your future self for guidance for the steps that you need to take next to take you on that pathway as quickly as possible. Okay, so we have one card here. We're going to draw 3 cards and some runes and charms as well, just to help you to guide you in. That's card number 3 there. Okay, let's have a look at our cards. So reading number 1, you have Sisters of the Sacred Spiral. Okay. Reading number 2, you have Daughters of the Red Tent. And reading number 3, wow, you have Hold On to Me. Okay. Gosh, these are looking to be really interesting readings. I am looking forward to them, I really am. Okay, let's draw some runes for each one and a charm as well for those of you that like that extra guidance. This is really interesting. I'm going to draw another one. There's 2 coming out, most definitely for each. Okay, so reading number 1, you have the rune of initiation and the rune of signs. This is signs, signals, synchronicities. Reading number 2, you have the rune of separation and the rune of gateway. And reading number 3, you have Hagalaz, the rune of disruption, and also the rune of ice. Okay, let's draw a charm for each as well. Ooh, reading number 1, you have a key with a skull on it here. Place that in the middle, I think. Reading number 2, you have the turtle. Reading number 3, you have the bicycle. Wow. Okay. So, Super Souls, I'm going to leave the video running just for a few moments. For those of you that would like a little bit more time, you can always press the pause button if you want to. The timestamps are in the information box below and the comments for phone users, and I will see you in the readings. Welcome, reading number 1. You have been guided into this reading by the Sisters of the Sacred Spiral, the rune of signs, signals, synchronicities, the rune of initiation. This is like a rite of passage. And then we have this key, which with the skull always for me suggests that there's a real transformation, a rebirth. It's like a death and rebirth cycle. Something is taking place here. I sort of almost feel as well with this card, it always speaks to me of like a return to, I say innocence. It's not so much a return to innocence in a naive way, but it's almost like you've integrated, you've experienced a rite of passage of some sort. You've come through an initiation almost to a higher level of consciousness. You can confidently look forwards. A turning point here, signs, synchronicities. So there's something about maybe even a karmic point in time. I'm not going to say anything more actually just now. I think we'll just draw cards and dive straight into the reading. So we are asking your future self today. Let's draw some oracle cards first. We're asking your future self, what are the next steps that you need to take to initiate, speed up, fast forward, and make happen your pathway to abundance, whatever that means for you. So we'll have 3 cards from this pack, and I think we'll draw from the angel answers as well. For anyone who is interested in the cards, I do list them in the information below, and I will also list them in the comments for phone users. Sometimes people ask what cards I'm using, so you'll find them there. Okay, we'll also use the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards, I think. Right, I think actually one more oracle card, and then we will have a look and see what we have, and then we'll draw tarot cards as well. Okay, so first of all we have the card of home. Okay. We then have the card of strength. We then have the card of commitment. And look at this, in the middle of the star, what do we have? A keyhole. And there you have a key. Okay. We have remain positive. Stay on course. Opportunity. Take your time. And Juno, relationship. I was going to say, do you know, the moment I saw this card of commitment, I thought, right, so what does abundance mean for you? We've got home. I've got a real sense of contentment, looking for contentment, looking to put down roots. But I think for some of you, this does include partnership. I think it does include love. Stay on course. Opportunity. Take your time. Okay. This is a very interesting reading number 1. It really, really is. Remain positive. This is an interesting card to be just having here. I almost feel like it sits to one side. It's like a governing energy here. Okay, so reading number 1. I think you're going to be shown something that's been blocking you, and you get to unlock something, and literally things progress. It's like your future self is saying there is something that you have been wanting, desiring, your pathway to abundance. I do think for this reading there's a focus on, it could be home, it could be that property, the moving house, it could be the partnership. There's an underlying sense of contentment and connection to something that feels quite, you're looking for something real, solid, almost like you're looking for something that's permanent. There's some aspect of your abundance that is calling for some sense of security, some sense of commitment. You are actually on course. Your future self is saying to you, look, remain positive. Sisters of the sacred spiral. It always feels for me as if it's a turning point of sort of destiny, of karma, of some aspect of that. Now with the rune of initiation and the signs and the remain positive card, because this also speaks about remaining positive, I feel your future self is saying to you, look, you're going to be shown something that holds the key to unlocking some aspect of your future. You need to be conscious of the signs and the synchronicities. You know how sometimes when we are on course and we're going from A to B and we've planned our route and we kind of stick quite, you know, we're sticking rigidly to the route and the pathway that we thought that we wanted to take. It was the best route to take. And then actually suddenly there's an alteration, and we have actually the alteration to the route is really important because it's unlocking something. Something's going to be shown to you. I'm going to ask for more information about this. You're ultimately on track. Your goals, your idea, that the aspect of abundance that you are wanting, you are absolutely on track with it. There's no question of that. Your future self is saying, look, you absolutely know what you want and you're right about it, isn't it? It's not a pie in the sky thing. This is very solid, very real. There's something you actually physically, fundamentally want, whether it's a person, a home, a stable career. There's something of stability with ongoing contentment, relief from uncertainty. There's something around this. Now, this card says you're facing some big stuff in your life right now. This card is a request that you keep going and stay on course, however challenging this may feel. Please be reassured that right now this is the appropriate way forwards. The universe supports your direction and slow and steady progress is assured. Opportunity. This card speaks of new opportunities, although they may not necessarily come in the form that you were expecting. And here we have the rune of signs, signals, synchronicities. So there's an indication here that you're going to be shown something that will, I think it's going to complete something, or create a stepping stone to something, or open a doorway to something. Something is going to be shown to you, but you're going to need to walk through it. Be prepared for opportunities disguised as loss. Be alert, look beyond the obvious. If a pathway opens for you, a new pathway, trust it's leading you in the direction you're meant to go. And then very interesting, it says, you know, slow down if you're feeling under pressure, whether in response to a situation or the demands of another person, or from the pressure you're placing on yourself. This card asks you to slow down and take time to evaluate before reaching a conclusion, making a decision, or committing yourself. So it's very interesting that we have a card that connects to commitment, sitting underneath commitment. So actually what I'm seeing really clearly here, and your future self is saying to you here, this is quite specific. We're going to draw more cards around this situation that you're currently in. Your future self is saying, look, firstly, there's validation, you're on track. The relationship, that the home, the goal, the end goal is absolutely right for you. Don't lose sight of it. Don't lose faith. Remain positive. At the moment, the universe is kind of lining something up for you. There's going to be a doorway or a key or a moment of opening, and the universe is setting this up for you. Interestingly enough, I think this is a point in time, reading number one, when you don't, although you will need to take action, you don't need to take action immediately. You don't need to push for this to happen. That's the real key here. You don't need to push. Literally, an opening will be given to you, and that's the next step for you to take. I feel as though that maybe because you really want this something, you're kind of itching for it, and it's almost as though you've been trying to push forwards with things. You may even have ended up trying a few things on for size, but then you might end up feeling disappointed if you look at maybe a house and you think it was going to be the one, and you get there and you know, on paper it ticks every box, but you walk through the door and it doesn't feel right. Or, you know, whatever it is, you've applied for a few jobs that looked as though they were the right thing, the right promotion, and it didn't come through. And this reading, your future self is saying, don't be despondent, okay, remain positive, because something is being lined up for you here, okay? It's like literally a doorway, a key, and it really is going to open up the world for you. Something is really the pathway to the aspect of abundance that you're looking for, the something that your heart really desires, something you've been holding out for quite a long time for some of you, I think. You're on course, but the way in which this is going to come to you, this doorway, this opening, is probably going to be unexpected. It won't come in the form that you thought it was going to come. You know, that chance meeting, that job opportunity, if you've registered with endless, you know, career pathway websites, and then suddenly you bump into somebody, you know, at a social event, and they say, oh, we've been looking for someone just like you. It's this sort of unexpected something. You know, if you've been on endless dating sites and then suddenly you just bump into somebody in your local supermarket, it's not going to come in the way that you thought it was going to come. The essence of this reading so far, and we will draw tarot cards to really ask about more information, but what your future self is saying is you can't actually push this forwards any more quickly, which I feel is kind of quite reassuring and really rather a lovely message, because sometimes when things aren't happening, you know, we can turn it inwards, can't we, and do the self-blame thing. It's such a human thing. Gosh, I'm obviously not getting it right. I'm obviously on the wrong pathway, or, you know, the universe doesn't like me at all anymore, or, you know, whatever stuff goes through our mind. Actually, your future self is saying, look, you're completely on track here. You know, you're completely on track. You're on course. Actually, don't put yourself under pressure here. What you want, that sense of commitment, that sense of stability, the key is going to be given to you, but it is going to come quite unexpectedly. That chance meeting, that moment, it's going to come. You can't make it happen. Okay, you can't force it to happen. You couldn't do any more, so cut yourself some slack. Remove pressure, okay? Let's ask to see if we can get a little bit more guidance as to how this is going to emerge. Maybe please ask for reading number 1, if we can be given any indication as to how this opening, this window of opportunity, this initiation, this opening is going to come. Could we be shown or given any insights and indications into this, please? I am really enjoying the fact that your future self is so clearly saying, look, you're doing everything right. Even if something hasn't yet been delivered to you, you are doing everything right. I'm really feeling that message coming through so very strongly, and of your future self and all of your kind of spirit team. It's like we've really got your back, is what they're saying. And, you know, just cut yourself some slack. Don't apply pressure. The exact right thing is coming to you. Let's draw those cards for now. We may draw more in a moment. Let's have a look and see what we're shown. Right, the Hanged Man, perfect. Now, can you see in this particular one, can you see the signs that are here? These are runes. We have Hagelas, disruption, separation, journey, and there's your rune of initiation, gateway, the rune of the self. We then have the rune, I think, of breakthrough just coming in here, and that's either partnership or constraint. Hard to tell because it's the tiny rune in the middle. But, oh no, there's the rune of partnership, there's constraint and dice. So we have lots of runes here. These runes themselves, interestingly enough, tell a story. But I think what we're being shown here is really confirmation that exactly the sign you need, the opening, the window, is going to be given to you. We then have the Page of Swords, the light bulb moment. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Four of Swords. And we have the Five of Pentacles. And again, we have a key here, the key. Okay, we're actually going to place these down here for a moment. Now, for some of you, and this is really interesting, the opening, the unexpected opening that's coming, that window of opportunity that's coming in an unexpected way, it's literally One of those light bulb moments. You know, when suddenly something comes to you or you see something clearly. Suddenly it's like you have that idea, gosh, I hadn't looked there, or I hadn't done this, or I hadn't done that, or, oh, maybe this would be better. I think for some of you, there is the sign that you need is almost that you see something, suddenly it becomes clear to you. It's almost as though the information has been there, but you know when you kind of can't see the woods for the trees, or you can't see it for looking. It's been there all along, and suddenly it's like, oh wow, gosh, that's really obvious. All I needed to do was that, or that's the answer to this. So the unexpected answer, interestingly enough, I think is going to come to you, that opportunity. Literally, yes, look beyond the obvious, be alert, look beyond the obvious, be prepared for opportunities disguised as loss, okay? Because you're on course. Okay, so something is going to become very apparent to you. Now, for some of you, I think it is actually something that has probably been, it's been there, but you haven't seen it as a potential solution. You've been walking down one particular pathway thinking that that would get you to the end goal. There's actually an alternative route, okay? So that's one thing. Some of you, it's already there. You just haven't seen it, noticed it, been aware of it as a possibility. For others, I think it will literally come to you in one of those moments of, I mean, it literally could be those moments, you know, when you just, I don't know, you open a book and you read the first sentence that that leaps out at you, and it just contains the piece of information you needed. Or, you know, something arrives, like a messenger, or you trip over something and it opens another pathway for you. For some, it will be something that arrives. For others, it's a route that's already there, but you haven't yet unlocked the door because you didn't realize its potential. Either way, there's going to be this moment of realization, and it's going to start the wheels of fortune turning. Okay, that's when you're going to start to see things shift, move forwards and move ahead. Now, we're being given some really important information in these two cards here. 4 of Swords and 5 of Pentacles here. Now, the 5 of Pentacles can feel a bit doomy and gloomy, but actually, again, this is really highlighting that the key is going to be sitting right next to you, whether it's already there and you haven't yet seen it as a solution, or whether it's something that's going to be shown to you. There's a need to be thoughtful. Take your time, slow down. Okay, if you're feeling under pressure in response to a situation, the demands of another person, or even from the pressure you place on yourself, slow it down. The 4 of Swords says, let's slow this down, let's consider, let's contemplate, let's just have a little bit of self-care and nurture. Climb into your nest, you know, get plenty of sleep. You know, you don't need to rush at this, okay? If you see this potential solution, or a doorway comes in an unexpected way and you think, oh, I really need to seize the moment, if I don't seize it I'll lose it, and then suddenly you kind of get into that space of wobble. Take your time, okay? You don't have to rush at this. This is what this card is saying. I feel like maybe because of this, you know, remain positive card, and look at the Sisters of the Sacred Spiral looking both ways. I think perhaps because for some of you, and I do think this is perhaps common for a lot of you in this reading, obviously it's a general reading, this is something that you have, this aspect of abundance is something you've wanted, and you've worked really, really hard in every way, both inside and out. You've been doing the internal work, you've been doing the external work, and it hasn't shown up, and you're just thinking, well, you know, why is the universe failing me? Why is this not happening? And I think you can swing like a yo-yo a little bit here, from sort of feeling very positive and approaching it in leaps and bounds, and then when it doesn't happen you swing back to a place of kind of despondency and despair. Okay, and you're being called here by your future self. You really, I say called, invited, it's being suggested that you just slow this process down. It's going to become clear to you, and the wheels are turning. I kind of said to you, I feel like there is real divine timing taking place. The universe is orchestrating to make this happen. But the key here is that it's going to happen at a particular time and place. So you don't have to force it. It's going to just, the doorway will open. It will just emerge. That's the joy of this reading. I really do feel really kind of thrilled for you in a way, because I feel reading number one, you're the kind of people who have been really, you've been doing that work. You've been doing the internal work and you've been doing the external work. And actually sometimes we can just get to that sort of point where we just think, well, is it ever going to happen? And we can get despondent. And really the universe is orchestrating around you. Your future self is saying, look, this is coming. That security, that sense of security, the outcome you desire, whether this is the result of some project you've been working on, whether maybe you have been working in partnership with someone, we're going to see that emerge in a really favourable way. But the next step is literally to be alert and aware of the possibilities of that moment of understanding, that moment of insight, that spark of an idea, that that's what I need to do, and then you do it. So there's a process to go through in your steps. Your future self is saying, right, your first step is actually to get still and not try to force this. Keep going because you're on track. Keep going, be steady, be methodical, and then you'll suddenly know, it will be shown to you. It's either something that's there already or it's something new coming in. The wheels will start to turn, literally. I think you'll literally feel those cogs within you. This leads to this and this leads to this. Don't be fazed by that sudden momentum and be steady in your approach. And just allow it to unfold. You will need to take action. You will need to step onto that pathway. You will need to put the key in the lock and open that door. But you don't have to do it in a rush. Slow and steady wins the race here. It's like literally one step at a time. Okay, but it's really being organised, orchestrated for you. It's happening. This feels super lovely. It feels so reassuring. That's really the word I feel here. Whatever abundance is for you, whether it's that successful outcome in your calling or your pathway or your partnership, the love of your life, or the outcome, the successful outcome of a creative project, moving house, whatever that piece of abundance that you're searching and looking for and you have been working for, it's absolutely going to be shown. Let's draw some more cards just to see whether we can be shown something of the ultimate outcome for you here. We'll draw from another tarot pack here. We're asking about the outcome, the future outcome. What can reading number one be looking forward to? The Empress, Mother. Wow, this is very significant for some of you in a very particular way. It won't be relevant to all, but I'll voice it in just a moment. Two of Angels, Balance. Seven of Trees, Contemplation. I'm going to draw another. There's your card. King of Angels, Peaceful Warrior. Okay, this is lovely. Right. So what can you look forward to, Super Souls? What are we being shown? So reading number one, what we're looking at in the future. So I said this card is giving a very specific message. If some of you have potentially been trying for a family I think it will result in success. If this is something you've been working at, maybe other factors have been involved that have prohibited that, I think this is going to happen. For those of you who are nurturing a creative project or moving house, whatever what we're seeing here in the Empress is that sense of stability, maternal stability, being anchored again, being rebalanced. So I do feel that whatever it is you're searching for, whatever you're looking for in this aspect of abundance for your life at this moment in time, I said right at the beginning, it feels like it's connected to home, family, partnership, having a sense, an ongoing, steady, income and that kind of thing. You're going to get to the point where you find some peace here. I think whatever this situation is, it's really been playing on your mind. You know, if you're trying to move house, if you're searching for that soulmate, or whatever you've been moving forwards or trying to move forwards, now is the time to continue without trying, and then allow the universe to orchestrate and then step through the door slowly and steadily. No rush, no hurry, one step at a time. It's going to emerge. But yeah, what you're being shown here is a delightful and very, very lovely outcome. There's such a sense of peacefulness. It's almost as if the worry of this situation has been lifted from you. The worry of financial instability, the worry of being alone and having to tackle everything on your own, the worry of not being able to find that home, that right place to get grounded, not being able to find the right community that you gel with, not being able to navigate your life-work balance, and all of these things come into play because there's something of your ongoing contentment that is connected to the aspect of abundance that you are looking for, reading number one, or that's what we're being shown here. And actually, what the future holds for you is a really gentle period, a peaceful period of life that comes from this opening. And that just feels delightful because I feel that this has weighed heavily. You've probably experienced a huge amount of stress in relation to not being able to stress, for some people, distress, unease, concerns, fears, insecurities, swinging like a yo-yo. And actually, this is going to bring you back into balance and life is going to feel steady, consistent. It's as if you can breathe again and relax. Yeah, literally you find your peace. You are, and there's something of that contentment that's coming through in whatever area of abundance you were asking about for this reading. Reading number one, this feels absolutely delightful. The outcome is lovely. I really feel it's a very reassuring reading, and really giving you permission to both continue and yet remove pressure, to take action when you see it, and to do it slowly and steadily in just a really delightful way. And that shift will occur. The key is there, and you're going to see that way very clearly. And once you do, that progress sort of feels like it's steadily assured. No more swinging like a yo-yo. Okay, so do hold that positivity. And cut yourself some slack, remove the pressure, because that's part of the key. Sometimes, the universe can offer us numerous doorways to step through, but we're so focused and tunnel visioned, I think is what we mean. Tunnel visioned, that we don't see the doorways. We're going too fast to even notice that they're there, or to even see that there's a possibility just sitting right alongside us. So reading number one, I think I'm going to wind up your reading. If this has resonated and you'd like to get notification of any of my readings as soon as I upload them, if you subscribe and press the little bell icon, they should come into your stream. This is one of my spontaneous readings. I do lots of these. I also post weekly guidance every single Sunday where we look at what's happening right here and now, and what do you need to know for the coming week, for the next 7 days. And I also, those readings are also timeless. You can always tune into any of those readings at any time, any of the readings that answer specific questions if you are needing just to kind of find an anchor point at any point in time. I put all those readings into a timeless readings playlist, and I'll put the link in the information box below, along with a ton of other stuff that I do, free stuff that I put into the world that you can access for support in your ongoing journey. So Super Souls, I can see you have worked so hard for this, and it's going to, there's so much reassurance here about the emergence, and also for you to be really genuinely kind to yourself through this process of emergence. It looks to me as if this is happening, really, very imminently. Slow down enough to see. And remember, if you feel looking back that you've ever missed an opportunity, trust me, the universe will give you another one and another one, and they'll keep on coming until you see that they're there and you step through that door. So there is never any need to fear that you've missed out on something. It's going to show up again right up there because you've done the work, and you are very deserving of this level of contentment, happiness, security. Super Souls, I am sending you all the love in the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you all of you who subscribe, like, share. Thank you for being here and being a part of this wonderful community. And thank you to those of you who give back through the super thanks, and also to those of you who support all of my ongoing work through Patreon. I hope you're enjoying the tutorials that I'm putting up there for you guys as well. Tons and tons of love. Reading number 2, welcome. Now you have been guided into this reading by Daughters of the Red Tent. We have the rune of Othilla, separation, we have the rune of gateway, and we have the turtle charm. Now, just from these cards and runes alone, though we need to draw a lot more cards really to inquire from your future self what are the next steps for you to take on your pathway to abundance, whatever abundance is for you at this moment in time. What I do feel I want to voice is that you are, I think, at a really significant turning point of leaving something behind and stepping into the new. And I think that there is an energy around some of you that feels as if you're feeling the vulnerability of that transition. I think that's probably the best way that I can describe it. So just wanting to really be very conscious and very thoughtful of that level of vulnerability that comes when this is a big pivotal turning point of having to say goodbye to some aspect of your world and it could for some of you be a person, circumstance, home, whatever it is, but I'm really seeing that space of transition here. It's a very big transition. With the turtle here, we're seeing just an abundance of potential energy coming to you to kind of get you onto dry land and to build something very, very new and significant for yourselves. But I'm very, very conscious that this is a big turning point for you. So your spirit team, really, not just your future self, I really feel like there's this whole kind of team energy around you saying that we're here for you. We literally are here for you, and you're going to be fine. So that's a message that's coming through for you to start with. Let's draw oracle cards and see what we're shown around this transition and the next steps that you yourself can take on your pathway forwards to abundance. Okay, so we'll draw some oracle cards and then we'll draw tarot cards as well. Ooh, that one coming through already for you, and that one. Let's ask some angel answers as well. I think we'll take both those. And just one more oracle pack. And then we'll decide where we go from here. There we are. Okay, let's have a look at all of your cards. Right, so first of all, We have the card of dignified, strength, Pluto, rebirth. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest that this card is showing up at this moment in time. You really are on this threshold. I feel like for some of you as well, it feels a bit like you're climbing out of a bit of a pit. So the transition has been challenging. I don't think that whatever you're leaving behind, I don't think it's been an easy ride, and I just need to say that for you. It really is, you know, very much around you. Strength, rebirth, Vesta, hearth, and 7th house relationship. Okay, right. I'm going to shift these along a little bit so we've got plenty of space. I think just about to get our cards in and we can see them all. Lovely. Okay. And look, you have strength again. Look at that. And wishing well. That's super nice. You have forgiveness of ourselves and lack. We have big happy changes and no. Right, this reading is really clear to me actually already, though we're going to draw tarot cards as well for additional confirmation and to see where this is going for you, reading number 2. But it's the next steps. We're asking your future self, what are the next steps for you to take forwards to your pathway of abundance? And actually one of the next steps for you is to do with sort of, okay, it's a general reading, so I'm going to voice some of the different aspects of the message that are coming through. It's time to close a door to something, and that is the first, it's almost like the first step forwards is to close the door to the past. It doesn't mean we forget, it doesn't mean we lose touch, it doesn't mean that we dishonor anyone if we've lost someone or we've had to move, but there is a permanent closing of a door in terms of how you are viewing your current situation. Okay, and I'm very conscious of saying this because I felt so strongly with this very first collection of runes, the card, the turtle, that you've had to navigate a period where honestly I feel like you didn't know whether you would ever get your head above water again. But now is the time for rebirth. Your future self is saying it is now time for you to invest in yourself. And really, really, for the first time possibly, I feel like that whatever took place, I think you guys are incredibly sensitive. That's what I'm really picking up on here. You have a very deep sensitivity and also a very strong sense of right and wrong, of yes and no. And I think you're somebody who gives 10,000% all of the time to every situation. And, you know, big respect. I honor you. I really honor you for doing that. But it means that I mean, I honestly think with the stuff you were having to deal with, it honestly felt like you were never going to come up for air at times. You know, and now is the time to say no to those thinking patterns where you go over and over stuff and think, could I have done it differently? You know, when something doesn't work out, maybe if I'd approached it this way, maybe if I'd done it that way, maybe I could have done this, or could I have done more? I don't think you could have done more. I think you're somebody who gives 10,000% to everything. But because you give 10,000% to everything, you're the kind of person who invests so heavily, such big time energy of yourself, that then when something goes wrong, it's almost as though you hold yourself responsible for everything. Absolutely everything. It's like you're carrying the weight of the universe on your shoulders, or you have been. Right, it's time to say no to that level of almost over responsibility, to say, do you know what, I'm drawing a line here. No is a boundary, you know. If you think about, I think of this developmentally, you know, when our beautiful little children, the new souls coming into our world, reach the age of 2 or thereabouts, and they're starting to talk, and that is the point. The reason it's called the terrible twos often is because it's the point where they learn to say no. I'm not doing that. No. You know, and it's the testing point where they suddenly realize that they are an individual and they can say no, and they can be defiant, and they push all the boundaries, you know. And I almost feel like with you guys, it's sort of, you've been constrained or restricted by some kind of a circumstance or something that was going on, and now it is time to shed, release, cleanse. You have also maintained an extraordinary degree of strength and dignity throughout this whole process, whatever was going on. And I do think that 10,000% bit of you, where you go over and over and you think, well, I could have done it differently, I could have done more, or I could have approached it, or if I'd said that, whatever that is for you, it's time to put that behind us. Literally, time to invest in you. Yes, time to invest in you, your future. And also as well, this card of lack gives us a really good indication. Leading a spiritual life does not mean living in lack. This card asks you to release any underlying beliefs that you may hold regarding entitlement and worthiness that may be blocking your ability to receive. When you have an abundance of wealth, interesting, we're here on abundance now. When you have an abundance of wealth, both inner and outer, you will have an abundance to give and to share with others. And the abundance in this instance is really abundance of anything, whether it's money, whether it's energy, time. When you look after you, when you address that and you are living in right relationship with yourself, then all your other relationships will fall into place because the boundaries around them will be good. And no is a boundary. This is time for you to invest in your future dreams. Okay, to try on some new ways of being, try on some new stuff. So the steps that your future self is saying you need to take to this pathway of abundance, in whatever way, shape or form you want, because the rune of separation, the Othilla, this is actually a rune of gain. Even though it's a rune of separation, it's a rune of gain. It's like we let go of something and then the new can come in, and the new is abundant. It's amazing. It's like we let go of giving 10,000% to everybody to the point where we burn out, and actually we start to really look after ourselves, and suddenly we have more to give. We have an energy increase, and we can therefore have more to choose carefully and thoughtfully in a boundaried way to give to others. So that's the kind of the deal here. The rune of gateway, this is literally that moment, that pause. I do think there's a fear in some of you as well that something will go wrong again if you dare to risk to love, for example, or you dare to risk to step up into some sort of position, that somehow it will all go wrong again. And we're really being assured here by your future self that that's not the case. In fact, we're going to draw cards about how the outcome of this is going to be. But I can say that you are massively supported and protected. Your dignity, your strength is being honoured. But there's a very clear, definitive, right, time to say no. We're letting go of that stuff. We're moving forwards. Big, happy changes. Time to invest in yourself. Literally start to make those wishes and believe in them. We now need to see the strength that you have applied in a situation to support others. We now need to see that strength invested in you. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of energy shifting in this reading, which I do from time to time for those of you who follow my readings regularly. This happens sometimes. So we're actually going to do that before. We're going to do some energy shifting before we actually then draw tarot cards to ask more about how this future pathway is emerging and any other information we need to help you along the way to do that. But your future self is very clear here. It's time to draw the line. We don't forget the past. We review it, we reflect on it, we learn from it, but it is now time to invest in yourself rather than just others. It's time to let go of any of that rumination that says, I could have done it differently. It's time to move beyond that and to take your strength and dignity and invest it in you. Very, very clear steps to be taking. That's your first step. And we will draw more cards to ask for more, but let's do some energy clearing to shift the relationship here between the past and the future. So let me ask you to just sit with what these cards are looking like to you and what they feel like. You may even be able to identify somewhere in your body. You know, it could, for some of you, I'm feeling like it could actually be in your throat, almost as if things were really choked up, you know, when you couldn't come up for air. For others, it may be in your chest. I'm also noticing that as I sort of lean into the energy of your reading. With our chest, we often have to, we're grieving, we're mourning for something that didn't work out or come to fruition. And those are the two areas that I'm noticing most. And it's almost as though I'm feeling like there's a blockage. And yeah, it needs to kind of be reopened up, you know, both within the throat, within the chest, and realigned so there's a flow of energy. You can invest your strength in yourself. So if you sit with where that is, notice it may be a different part of your own body. You know, our body, I don't know, for those of you that are interested in further reading about these things, there's an amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score. Which is an extraordinary book that really identifies where literally at a cellular level we carry trauma and blocks from the past. So let's sit with where this sits in your body, because we're going to shift this and then we're going to move into a future aspect of the reading about steps forward. So the first step is the letting go and the clearing of this energy. Doesn't mean we forget. It means we learn from the past and we move into a different new space of growth. So sit with how this is feeling. I'm going to bring in some beautiful crystals. These are blue calcite crystals. And we're going to move the cards around. Okay. So we're going to put this principle of lack and this feeling of perpetually giving yourself a hard time into the past. I'm going to say no to these things, okay? So I'm going to move these cards out of the way. We're going to really bring your strength and your future wishes into a more present position. Big happy changes sitting under rebirth, okay? You have every right to now say no to the past. It's quite right. It's not a negative no, it's a positive no. And we're going to bring in beautiful line of blue calcite. Okay, so this is gorgeous, really healing, strengthening energy. Calcites are really, they are the big healing crystals. And we're going to place these behind. We're going to put those in a past position here. This is where they sit. Okay, just place another piece of calcite on them. This is the past. You did your very best. Everyone knows you did your very best. You could not have done more. You know, you did absolutely everything you could within the context of that situation. That is an affirmation. And your future self is saying, right, let's now say goodbye to that element of the past. We don't forget, but we say goodbye to the stuff that is ruminating and perpetuating unease and difficulty within you. It is time for big happy changes. Let's say a very healthy no to something, whatever that no is. Okay, it will be in the context of your own situation, your own unique world. This is a general reading, but you're saying no to something. It is now time to walk tall. Be your most amazing self. This is time now to birth. It's like to step back fully into life. Now, I really would like you just to focus for one moment as we've shifted the cards. Take a deep breath in. Really look at these. And then just release it. Clear that energy out. And you may want to even pause the video and do this more than one time. You know, literally look at these cards, these crystals. Breathe into that situation, that memory. Literally breathe right into it, then turn your head to the left, looking back, turn your head to the right, looking forwards, and then from the right to left, swing your head across and breathe out. let go of any attributes that are connected to the past that are no longer helpful for you. You can keep any good bits of learning, but you let go of any, and you may want to do that. I would suggest 4 times. Press the video if you need to do that. Press the pause, press the video, press the pause button. Do it 4 times and do it at any time you need to. You know, you might even want to take a little screenshot of just these cards. And if you're having a moment of wobble, look at that screenshot and do that breathing exercise. Breathe in whilst looking at it. Turn your head to the left, you're looking back at where you've come from. Turn your head to the right. We're looking ahead to the future. Then breathe out, sweep yourself around, breathing out, and do that as often as you need to release any connection within you that is still clinging to a negative perspective and holding you back. It's time to say no to this. Oh, that does. I can feel like I just took in a deep breath, which I sort of felt was almost clogged in my throat a little bit a moment ago. So now we are investing in you, your future. So very good advice coming through from your beautiful your spirit team, as well as your future self. And now we're asking your future self to show what steps you can take to take you forwards here. What are we going to be shown here for reading number 2? What is going to be happening? What steps can reading number 2 take to begin to really move things forwards, to embrace these big, happy changes? Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Right. Oh, wow. Look at your first card, the Sun. Super, super fantastic. This is like your energy returning. Let yourself receive. Okay. We then have 5 of Pentacles. Yes, of course, the key here really is to look to the future and not to the past. 8 of Cups. Look at this beautiful, I mean, I feel like we have this beautiful singing bowl here where it's like burning something. It's like a ceremony where we are letting go and releasing the things, just as we did just now in the sort of the breathing exercise. We're letting go of those things that no longer serve and walking to a new future. Ace of Swords. Oh my goodness me, look at this, super souls. Look at this reading. Look at this reading. I am absolutely thrilled. This just feels wonderful for you guys. It really does. It really does. Now we have for you. So your energy, I'm going to say your energy will slowly return. The more you release, and you can do this, you could get up and do this exercise every single morning for the next week. You know, tune it into the moon cycles, especially around a full moon, whenever you're reading, you know, looking at this reading. But do it as often as you need to. Your energy is slowly but surely going to return. Okay? Your strength, your vitality. And slowly but surely, step by step, you will be able to let go of it's the residue of those things that left you feeling so full of self-doubt and anxiety. Slowly but surely, you will find the key. You know, you're going to leave this behind. Now, your future self is saying, I'd like you to get clear here on what you actually want. What kind of dreams, wishes do you wish to dream up? Page of Cups, pigs might fly. This is the pigs might fly card, and we have another beautiful singing bowl. In this imagery, and look at the singing bowls here. In this imagery, the singing bowl is to do with a ceremony of letting go and moving beyond something. In this, we are seeing stepping stones from past to present, the learning from the past, the integrating that knowledge into wisdom. And here we have the investment of, we see the singing bowl up here with the little flying pig. This is like really dare to believe, okay? Big happy changes, dare to believe. So your future self is saying to you, look, slowly but surely your energy will return step by step. And the more that you involve yourself in regular affirmations and ceremony that help to release any of those limitations that have been holding you back, the essence of self-doubt and all of those things, slowly but surely you're going to basically rise again in a good way. Get clear, write a list of what you actually want your future to look like. If you found yourself previously in a position where you just thought, I can't believe there even is going to be a future, you know, where really it was hard to see that, it's now time to build that. And the turtle showed up here really for that. You know, Native American traditions, the turtle is the beginning of all of life. You know, when the ice age, the ice cap melted, and the world was underwater and there was no land, and lots of animals were literally swimming around in the water, and they couldn't find land, and they were, you know, they would not have been able to survive. Along came the turtle and said, climb up on my back, and you know, I will form an island for you. And you know, this and life will begin again. And this was the beginning of dry land. You know, this is the story that surrounds the energy of turtle, which is why it's so powerful in your reading here. Such a powerful central position in this transition, where, you know, it can be we can feel fearful of stepping into life again. But actually, get really clear about what you want. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to believe in possibility. Okay, you can learn from the past. By all means, reflect. The Rune of Gateway says, you know, look back and learn and step into a space of gratitude for everything, even the kind of crap that we go through, excuse my language, but you know, even the rubbish stuff, we learn from it. You know, this is a good space and time that you're entering into here. Big happy changes. This is beautiful. Your future self is saying, right, we're going to say no to any of this lack of self-belief, this ruminating. We're leaving that behind. Invest in this consistently with affirmations, ceremony, anything you need to do, the breathing exercise, to continually release, whilst then focusing afterwards. If you release, then focus on something. And again, I would say one step at a time. Focus on something that you know you actually want and desire. You know, this is a reading about, you know, we're asking your future self what steps you need to take next on your pathway to abundance. I feel like for some of you, it's almost as if you'd, you know, it had become so challenging, the circumstances or whatever was going on around you, that you've begun to feel that it's almost as though abundance couldn't possibly even exist for you. Okay, so step by step, as you release, then come up with one thing that you would actually like to have in your life. Step by step, it can be a little thing, it can be a big thing, and start to write a list, because you're starting to formulate your dreams. You're starting to try different things on for size in terms of, that might be quite nice, I would quite like that. You know, that might be quite a good thing. You might go back and reevaluate your list at a later date. Sometimes, you know, if I write lists all the time, that's just me. I need to write lists, because otherwise I forget all the things I need to do. But nevertheless, I love lists, and I think they really help us to focus our mind. And if I go back and look at my wish lists over, you know, several years ago, I can see how many have come into being. And interestingly enough, I can sometimes see that some of them are no longer relevant to me. And it's almost like I can cross them off and say, you know, thank you very much. That was an idea that took me in a good direction, but I needed to tweak it around a bit to get at exactly what I wanted. Many of which are present. Others, I can see it was a process. So we're always evolving in this way. Now, step by step, every time you do a release ceremony or you make an affirmation of letting go, simultaneously carry a notebook with you, write down a dream, a wish, a desire, and start to focus yourself on exactly what you do wish to create, as opposed to a constant lens of where you've come from. Okay, so that is your future self's advice. Now, I think we should draw some more cards. Okay, and ask about reading number 2, whether your future self can give us a little bit of insight, or like a little bit of a vision of how your future might evolve and what it might mean and be bringing for you in terms of your future abundance. very clear steps that are being offered to you at the moment. But yeah, can we see for reading number 3, what is life going to look like in terms of future abundance? What would that mean for reading number 3? I think it's this one. Okay. Queen of Trees, Nurturer. Ah, lovely. We have the Shadow, Fear. Page of Angels, Mysticism. And Seven of Hearts, Choices. Super good. Okay. Right. So what we are being shown here, your future self is saying to you, look, actually, as you do this, what will happen in the future? Look at the powerful transformation in this card. This butterfly, it's like you become the embodiment of possibility. I think you've come from a place where you felt that choices were just removed from you. Stuff happened that was out of your control. And as I said, I think it had a big impact. It's left a residue. As you leave that behind, this is very interesting because it's a general reading. So in a way, what you wish for in the future is going to be very unique and individual to each of you. Abundance will mean something different. It could be to do with your calling. It could be to do with your career pathway. It could be that, the home of your dreams, the family of your dreams, the partner of your dreams. It could mean any number of things. But what your future self is saying is, as you take those steps to release and embrace all of that, like that list of possibilities, the pigs might fly list, you will be able to leave the fear behind. Okay, you yourself will become the embodiment of possibility. Your choices will be open and endless, whereas you've come from a space where you felt that choices were consistently taken away and removed from you, to the point where you really questioned, I think, whether, almost as though, and I think we do this, it's such a human thing, isn't it? When things are going wrong, we think, well, gosh, I must have, what did I do in a past life? We go through all that sort of the layers of self-doubt that come up. I mean, anyone with a decent imagination can come up with a billion things, but those things can then become a method of self-persecution, from within, and that's not okay. You will learn to actually genuinely nurture yourself. You will let go of, you will release. It's really interesting when we look at the imagery in this card. They're beautiful cards. For anyone who's interested, if I haven't said it already, Super Souls, in the cards, I will list them in the information box. The cards that I've used for this reading, I'll list them in the information box, and I'll put them in the comments as well for phone users. So people often ask what cards, what pack was this or that. They will all be listed there, so you'll be able to find them. But yeah, this is a really, really interesting card because we're showing her letting go. There's a releasing. And in releasing, she's able to grow again. We have this beautiful tree. The strength that you guys will have in terms of your inner strength is going to be something else, but it's strength with wisdom. It's strength with your roots in the ground. It's resilience. Your capacity to nurture with integrity is going to be quite something else. And I think in many ways, not only will you overcome your own fears, but you won't be afraid to look into the shadows. For some of you, you may actually end up becoming involved in some aspect of healing for others. You might, for those of you who are new to my channel, I was a full-time counsellor, an accredited psychotherapist for many, many years, 28 years in fact. My calling is really about connecting that information and that knowledge base with our spiritual pathways. I've read cards all my life. Now, actually, I think you guys have that capacity, to do that level of healing work where you're not afraid to look at the shadows. When we've walked into the shadows, and it's very interesting, going back to Native American teachings, it's like in Native American teachings, the shadows are not a place to be feared. The shadows are the place where we learn the most. you know, and it's also the place where we can, if we can travel into those shadows, we can become a guide for others. And I do feel there could be something of that nature coming to some of you. It won't be relevant to all, but for some I do think there will be a significant role for you to play in your pathway to future potential material abundance, through a pathway of actually being that channel of transformation. Some of you may become a kind of a spiritual leader, a guide, a counsellor, a therapist, get involved in shamanic work, but there's something about that. Whatever happens, your future self is saying to you, whatever emerges as your future unfolds, whatever your list, your list of desires, your list of dreams, the choices will be available to you. Those choices will be there, whereas I feel you've come from a place where choices were removed. So, gosh, a lot taking place. This is a very deep reading number 2. And your future self is just, your future self is wise. Your future self is wise and living in a space of profound abundance, very centered groundedness. That's what I have, this feeling of somebody really strong, really solid, who says, do you know what? I'm not battered about by life, because I always have choices and I know them, and I have resilience and I have strength, and I'm very much in charge of whatever I wish to manifest in my life. That is the message of your future self, and that's what we're seeing. And the steps to get there are very clearly being shown here. Super souls, if this is resonating, aligning with you, I am sending you the biggest hug ever and the biggest amount of respect, because, wow, this is very much what I would call the level of deep soul evolutionary work that actually not only benefits any of us as individuals, but my goodness me, it benefits to the greater collective consciousness of humanity, to be quite honest, in a nutshell. And I just want to say, really, it is an honour to read for you. It is a privilege to read for you. I feel quite emotional, actually. You've been through a lot. You've really been through a lot. I can really feel that. Yeah, well, big respect. The stuff you're doing is, yeah, it's not been easy, but wow. And you are coming out of this with every possibility at your fingertips. There's steps to be taken, and now is that time of transformation. Do you know, I wish you the most magical journey. I really do, and an abundance of anything you choose to bring into your world in the future. Your future self showing such clear steps for you. Super souls, it really is an honour and a privilege to read for you. Thank you for joining me for this reading. Thank you for what you are doing and the level of soul work that you have embraced. And yeah, if you'd like to get notification of any of my future readings, if you subscribe and press the little bell icon, they should come into your stream. And I put a ton of free stuff into the world. I have a whole online library to do with emotional and psychological stuff. I will put links to absolutely anything and everything that might be relevant to you in the information box below and in the comments for phone users, along with the cards. And also, because this is a timeless reading, I mean, you could find this reading at any time. You may have found it because I've just uploaded it. But I have a timeless readings playlist. I post readings as well every Sunday for weekly guidance, which are really very much about what's happening right here, right now, and what do you need to know for the next 7 days. All of these readings are a resource. They're there for you at any time. So again, I will put all the relevant links in the information box for you. Super souls, thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much to those of you who give back through the super thanks in the comments. And thank you as well for all of you who are now contributing and supporting the work that I do through Patreon. And I've been posting tutorials for my Patreon people. So I hope you're enjoying those as well. Tons and tons of love. Welcome, reading number 3. You have been guided to this reading by the card of Hold On To Me. We have the rune of Disruption, Hagelas. We have the rune of Ice, and we have a little bicycle here. Gosh, this is really, it's really interesting because Hagalaz is often quite a disruptive energy, hence the rune of disruption. Ice sometimes suggests that something is at a standstill. It can also mean that we need to slow down. And yet there's a real vibrant energy of something very fast taking place here for you guys. So let's draw cards, because we are asking today, we're asking your future self, you know, what steps do you need to take on your pathway to abundance, whatever you are seeking to bring in and manifest in your world at the moment. So let's draw some cards. We'll draw oracle cards first. And actually it's this one. Okay, I'm going to draw from several packs, see what we are shown. We are asking, ooh, that one wants to come out, and that one, and that one. We are asking your future self, what steps do you need to take to, move your pathway to abundance forwards, whatever that abundance is going to mean for you. Okay, let's have a look and see what we have here. Okay, so we have the card Pluto Rebirth. This showed up in one of the other readings. Ooh, Capricorn, achieve. Oh, wow. Talk about the energy of movement forward. Sagittarius, expand. And we have the card of Neptune, vision. Oh, my goodness me. I kind of almost want to say, you know, what's going to stop you? Wow. Oh, it's like, talk about the energy here. Now this is very, very interesting because we have walk away. These are very interesting cards. Walk away, we have new love. We have empower yourself. I'm just going to move this over here. See what we can, we're going to have to squeeze a lot of cards in here. I didn't realize how many we've drawn. New love and empower yourself. We have take action. Okay. We have got metamorphosis, stuck in the mud, and moonlight. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can reorganize these. I think I'll just press the pause button for a second and see if I can reorganize this so that you can see all of the cards, because we've drawn quite a lot already. Okay, Super Souls, so I hope with a little bit of rearranging you can now see everything very, very clearly. Now this is a fascinating reading, reading number 3. Okay, so something's going to be shown to you, or it's going to become clear to you in terms of your next steps forwards. The energy is completely and utterly with you to take something forwards, to move something forwards, to expand, to achieve, to get something to happen, to move something ahead. Literally, I feel like this hold on to me card, it's almost like, it's like this bicycle is going to be, you know, when you're on a, not the electric bikes that we get now, but you know, the old, you know, proper old-fashioned bicycle, and you pedaling up a hill, and then you get to the point, if you're pedaling down, when you just can't pedal anymore because you couldn't pedal quickly enough to get up, to keep up to speed. I feel like that's going to happen to you. It's really fascinating here. So the energy of your reading is completely primed for something to take place, and just, it's like, just run with it. Your feet won't touch the ground. You're going to take action, you're going to move. It really connects to your vision of abundance, whatever that may be. It's literally, something's going to arrive, it's going to happen, it's going to land, it's going to just be there for you. In fact, I'll talk about the energy of new love in a moment, okay? This could literally almost be revitalizing. It could be a new love, a relationship for you, but it could also be connected to literally, my goodness me, the passion of your life. You know, the love in your life, the passion, the desire, abundance. I'd venture to say abundance in every possible way. Metamorphosis rather, is this card is saying. It's like, because we've got 2 here. It's like possibly, you know, more than one area of your world that you are building, you're creating, that more than one part of your world is going to transform at the same time. That's what I'm seeing. And again, these two figures hold on to me. It feels like, yeah, literally there are two areas of your life that are simultaneously birthing, and they're going to move fast, and honestly it will seem as though the timing is just extraordinary. Okay, that's what we're being shown here. Now, I did say that I think you're going to be shown something. Okay, so number one message from your future self regarding your pathway to abundance: you do need to take action, you need to consistently move forwards, and we're going to draw cards, lots more cards for this reading number 3. Things are going to suddenly escalate. They're going to move forwards very, very quickly. It will feel like your feet don't touch the ground, and I think for some of you it's more than one area of your world that's unfolding. Now, when we move into periods where something is really fast, happening fast, sometimes the ride can be a little bit bumpy. It's not that it isn't expanding in the right direction, but you're being asked kind of twofold. One is to slow down enough to enjoy the roses, savor the moment, the ice rune, slow it down, but also just make sure you slow it down enough to see what you're doing, because as you accelerate, there are going to be some things that you need to let go of along the way. You're going to be shown some things that are no longer appropriate. Hagelas, the rune of disruption, is sometimes it's like it literally brings something really quickly, suddenly into our world. And it's almost like a need to break free from something. It's like, that's not working. I can't do that bit anymore. Okay. Sometimes it actually means that we gradually come to our senses, and it's like we begin to see something with clarity. So maybe you've got people in your world who you've been working with, who've been supporting you, but actually you suddenly kind of realize that actually they're not really working for you, or something of a situation. As you rise to success, as you rise into abundance, I think this is going to be happening big time for you. I feel there's accelerated growth coming your way, absolutely big time. It's like your world is going to transform, really probably in so many different directions. This may be about abundance financially, your career pathway, but one way or the other, as it does, and your feet can't touch the ground, as it gathers incredible momentum, there will be aspects along the way where you're going to need to be quite clear about what to keep and what not to keep. And for some of you, it may even be that you kind of can't do everything as well. Maybe you're spinning too many plates. If you're a one-man band, for example, you're going to need to really think about what you can do and what you can't do. If you're overcommitted, that could limit the possibilities. So I'm seeing you taking action. We're going to draw more cards. I'm seeing you finding all sorts of, it feels like your whole world is opening up. Slow down though, because as you slow down, you'll be able to identify the things that you actually need to let go of and walk away from. I'm going to ask a bit more about this card, because this feels like all of this energy feels like expansion, moving forwards, happening, dynamic. And then we have walk away. The ice and stuck in the mud feel very positive cards. It feels like they're saying, just slow down. It doesn't feel like you're stuck. It means slow it down. The owl here in moonlight. Look at what you need to see. There's timing involved here. Okay. Right, we're going to draw tarot cards to find out much, much more about, what is your future self speaking to you about here? Maybe is this a pattern? I mean, walking away. It says walk away from this situation. This is a strong card. When we face a challenging or an unhealthy situation, it can be hard to let go and move on. Sometimes we stay in the hope that someone else will change, or perhaps we're so fearful of the unknown that we remain in the safety of a known and yet toxic situation. This card validates your entitlement to leave. Everything is about newness, passion, rebirth, excitement, achieving, expanding, fulfilling your vision, finding your goal, moving to that space of abundance, really. So you need to slow down enough to see something. There's an evaluation along the way. This is an interesting card too, empowerment. Empowerment does not mean that we have power over others. It means we have power over ourselves. We honour our capacity for free will and conscious choice whilst honouring the same in others. This card asks you to evaluate your present situation and to take an ownership of your right to choose, with a recognition of others to do the same. There's some form of difference of opinion is what's really coming through here. Your world is expanding and somebody else's world maybe isn't. Maybe your world is expanding and somebody's, you know, sometimes people, if you're in a, it's like when you're in, let's say you're in a really close group of friends and, you know, your best mate, you know, you spend so much time together and then suddenly you meet the love of your life. And obviously you want to spend time with the love of your life. It doesn't mean you want to lose your friendship, but you want to spend time with the love of your life too. But your best friend starts to act in a way that's quite sabotaging, because they kind of want to be happy for you, but they kind of don't want you to move on either, because they're happy for you to stay as you are. There's something about the energy of a situation or a circumstance or a person who would, on the one hand, might appear to be supporting your expansion, but on the other hand, I think they quite like to slow you down, and you may need to become present enough to be able to see what's actually going on here. Let's ask, may we have additional advice, please, about what this is about for reading number 3, please. What's going on? We have the 8 of Wands. What's going on for reading number 3? What's taking place and what steps do they need to take? What information can we be given around this situation? Okay, so we have the 8 of Wands. Oh wow, look at this. We have 2 8s. We have the 8 of Wands and the 8 of Pentacles. We have the Page of Wands. We have the Moon and the Hierophant. Super. We have the card of Judgment. We have the 3 of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so you are at a pivotal point of manifesting. I just feel like it's almost like I almost want to say you've got the knack of it. This combination of Wands, creativity and Pentacles, you know, the 8s here. This is really bringing stuff forth. It's like having an idea, making it happen. The Pages, it's like idea after idea after idea. It feels like you're being divinely guided here. You're really bringing something forth. You really are. You're bringing something forth in the world that is going to be shared with people. And it's very transformative. There's something that you have been working on manifesting. And I do think there's more than one aspect of your life that's opening up. It really, I do feel like you've almost got the knack of manifestation in some way, shape or form. Or something is moving forwards, expanding, happening, birthing, that is so big as it gathers momentum that it fuels all the other aspects of your life. It's like you have an idea or a gift, a quality, a something that is really going to bring illumination and guidance to many. It's going to be very transformative. It's something quite unique to you. And I do think it will benefit a lot of people. I really, really do. You're manifesting something, and because it's bringing abundance to you, I mean, really seriously, this is a time to go with this. You know, literally, your feet aren't going to touch the ground, and everything is in this reading is saying, absolutely, keep at it. Don't stop, expand, go with it. But make sure that every day your higher self, your future self, your whole team are saying to you, make sure that you remain grounded through your expansion. Okay? Because if you're grounded, you'll be aware of any aspects of stuff, people, situations around you that don't really support your level of growth. You know, there will be people who are envious of your success. This is about envy, I think. Envious of your success. And we'll draw some cards around this particular card actually in just a minute, just to give you the heads up. But I think there will be people who will be envious of your success. What we're being shown here is something you're doing is really going to take off big time. When it takes off, your future self is saying, look, remain humble, remain grounded, because you're going to need to be grounded despite the speed at which this is going to move, hence the disruption and the rune of ice. It feels like quite a contradiction, but I don't think it is. I think your future self is really saying, look, this is just going to roar ahead in no uncertain terms. Just remain anchored enough to be conscious of the aspects, people, situations around you who you may need to let go of, or even people who approach you because they want something. You know, they see your success and they see your success as an opportunity for them to benefit, to gain in some way, shape or form. This is, you know, a very strong card, but it feels like a very important one. It almost feels like I always feel like this is a separate reading. Okay, this is all happening. I'm just going to, in fact, I'm going to place that to one side, and I think that's what we're going to do in just a minute. We're going to do almost like a little mini reading. We're going to follow through with this circumstance and this situation. Everything here is very clear for you, reading number 3. Something you're working on is actually going to take off in a big way. I think it is very much divinely guided. It is going to benefit not just you, but many others. I think it will help people in some way, shape or form to transform, to connect, to understand themselves, how to process their own experiences and manifest. And I think it is going to be genuinely so successful. It is going to be life transformative in terms of lots of areas of your life, and simultaneously, it's just there's so much revitalization coming into your world in every possible way. It does feel like your feet won't touch the ground, so there is a need to take action. In fact, let's bring this over here, because this is very much connected to this part of the reading. There is a need to take action. There is a need to take action and yet slow down enough, literally to smell the roses and also to see whatever this is about. Okay, because there's going to be some letting go. This does feel like a separate reading, and that's how we're going to approach it. So this is very clear. Keep doing what you're doing. Be consistent. Take action. You know, open yourself to receive. Allow yourself to move forwards in every area of your life. Don't hold back. Really, just do not hold back. The timing for you guys here is perfect. Now let's look at this card. What is it that reading number 3 are going to be walking away from? Okay, here's your first card, shining out. Mysticism, Page of Angels. Okay. What are reading number 3 walking away from? Mysticism. Queen of Angels, visionary. Shadow, The Fear. This is interesting because some of these cards came out in one of the other readings. And the Ego. Ah, okay. This is really very clear in terms of what you're walking away from. Okay. This is the equivalent of the card of the Tower, the Ego, collapse, shadow, fear. Right. So, the kinds of messages, well, there's a distinct message along with lots of other sort of scenarios coming through. So, I think you've grown up in a world or had people around you who have quite a fixed way of seeing things. Part of your expansion is that you have an idea, you have something that you can bring forth that is going to be transformative to other people. Okay, but there will be almost what I would say like the naysayers. Is that what we call them? There used to be like I think there was a way of saying that, the naysayers, you know, people who, I don't know, if you were the guy that, the Wright brothers, for example, and you really believed that you could, you could build an aeroplane and that people could fly, and the naysayers would just put that down. They're so stupid, these people, these ridiculous Wright brothers, they're never going to be able to achieve this. And there's something about people who hold a negative perspective on what you're doing, you know, and, you know, sometimes we stay with these groups of people because they're familiar, because we grew up with them, because they're a group of friends, or maybe it's a family connection, whatever it is for you. There's someone or a group of people who kind of hold a very different perspective to you. And I think you are rising into a position, I would venture to say, of potential leadership in some way, Super Souls. I'm really seeing that. It's like you're able to move beyond, I think, those, you know, I would venture to say, you know, the sort of school playground bitchy backstabbing ways, you know, the lower consciousness that's there, and we must love people for who they are. Everyone's on their own pathway, and when we meet people who are, you know, maybe not of don't appear to be on the same wavelength as us, there's no purpose in judging them. Very often they are the very same people that in many ways have rocketed us into this space of a new beginning. You're going to be letting go of some people who are very tangled in their own shadow. They're very tangled in their own way of doing things. I think they do a lot of what I would call backstabbing, below the belt, kind of saying stuff behind your back, saying nice things to your face because they want to benefit from your success, but behind your back they're saying something else. It's that kind of flavour here. You know, this is very prevalent. It's part of the transition and the move that we are making as people move into higher levels of consciousness and become more aware. You know, there's also a huge resistance to this. There are lots of people who are used to orientating through kind of rather what for me would feel like quite archaic power systems, but they're there. And in many ways, those people have gifted us with the learning of wanting to do it differently. But you're going to be walking away from people who operate like that. It's not going to work for you anymore. You're literally, the rune of Hagalaz, you're just going to, as you rise to success, you are increasingly going to find it harder and harder to hang out with people who operate like that, even if they are connected to your immediate community, your family, your friends. You're going to, you know, friendship groups, you're going to find it harder and harder and harder to just sort of almost like put up and shut up. It's going to feel like I can't do this anymore. You know, I really can't hang out with you because the stuff that you are talking about is so alien to me. You know, you find that people are clinging maybe to some belief systems that really just no longer serve you. They probably don't really serve humanity at all. But the fact is they are out there. You're going to reach a point where you can't do that anymore. You really, really can't. And because it just doesn't work for you. It's not where you're at. It's not who you are. It's not where you're at. You've transformed sufficiently. You know, you are holding a vision. You have some really important stuff to share. I think some of you will be taking some aspect of, I say leadership. For some of you, it could be quite significant leadership. But it will be within, you know, whatever that is for your own world. It could be within your community. It could be in a wider community. Whatever it is, you are bringing things forth that are really going to make a difference to people's lives. They're going to be transformative. They're going to help people to collaborate. You know, rather than people who work against one another, you're going to bring things forward, leading by example that this is possible. And you actually are going to reach a point where I think you simply can't tolerate stuff. As you rise to success, it will become increasingly apparent who in your world is clinging to you for the wrong reasons, okay? And your higher self, your future self is saying to you, look, I mean, in a way, I feel like your future self is saying, look, actually, when you get to here, and this is the steps forwards, and this I think is going to happen, and I think it's going to happen fast. You know, when it happens, literally, your feet won't touch the ground. You're going to experience success. You're going to be in this space of leadership. All this kind of stuff is going to just pale into insignificance. It's so not relevant to the world you're in and who you are. This kind of stuff it's like water off a duck's back. But it will mean that you actually do choose, I think, to walk away from certain aspects of your world that are still present and there. I think it just won't work for you anymore. You just simply won't be able to do it. So what your future self is saying, next steps you need to take on your pathway to abundance. First of all, keep on track. Take action. What you are currently working on is going to come to fruition, and I think it's going to, doorway after doorway after doorway, step after step after step is going to open. So keep going, persevere, whilst simultaneously making sure that you are grounded enough to notice who serves you and who doesn't. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I mean literally in recognizing and seeing the people in your world who will support your success for the right reasons, where you can collaborate, and the people in your world who don't. Because you're going to be transforming not just your own world, but you will become an inspiration and a transformer for other people's lives and worlds as well. This is a super, super amazing reading. These have been such powerful readings. I'm quite blown away by them, really. Very, very different, all three, and yet so much evolutionary growth present, you know, at a level of soul. You are going to walk away, there's no question of it, from some circumstances, situations that you're just not on the same page. But actually, everything else is happening so beautifully, so perfectly, so wonderfully for you. It's just, yeah, and it really is. It's like it's almost like one essence of abundance kicks in, and as that kicks in, it just radiates out, and all these things just keep on coming and coming and coming. And of course, your success is always going to attract some people who are not the right kind of people. That's the nature of the world. The more successful you are, the more you'll get amazing people who see you as an inspiration, and also there'll be lots of other people too, perhaps hopefully not lots, but some who are sort of, you know, light attracts light. You know, we have that magnetism, but light also attracts dark sometimes. You know, the dark comes because it's like when someone sees you as being successful, and they think, oh, well, let's sort of scam this person because actually, you know, they're doing well, so I could get that from them. But I do feel this is possibly slightly more personal far more likely to be people in your world who kind of, who sort of, you see their true colours really, and I think there's therefore going to be some walking away. But you know, your world is taking off in the biggest and best way possible. You know, it really is. And what you are bringing forth is going to be, you know, literally the emergence of you, and what you are currently working on, take action, continue, is going to emerge. It's going to go into the world, and it's going to help people. It's going to make a difference. And it's really just wonderful, the contribution that you're going to be making, whatever that is to you individually, in the uniqueness of your world. Super Souls, I am honoured that you're here looking at my readings. Thank you. And I am just so thrilled and excited for you. And I understand the ties that we have to people, but sometimes we have to cut those cords and just recognise that, you know, send love and walk away. It's that kind of thing. Or, you know, send love and, you know, keep them at a safe distance. It's got that flavour. Super Souls, I'm sending you all the love in the world, and I'm really, really excited for you, because this is the world taking off big time for you. I mean, it really is. So your steps to your pathway of abundance are about continuing, going with it, allowing yourself to receive all and everything in all areas of your life, and actually making sure that you say goodbye to any aspects along the way, and slowing down enough to see them clearly that are really not resonating with you. Okay, Super Souls, if this is working for you, if this reading is speaking to you and singing to you, then do subscribe and press the little bell icon. That way you should get notification of any of my readings. I post lots of these spontaneous readings. I post moon updates all of the time, and I post every Sunday. I post readings for weekly guidance that are literally your spirit team telling you what you need to know right here, right now, and for the next 7 days. And in my Timeless Readings playlist, you will find a wealth of readings that answer all kinds of specific questions. So at any time you need to touch base with a reading, they are there as a resource for you. Super Souls, tons of love. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. I'll put all the information I can think of that might be of value to you in the information box and the comments for phone users, including the cards that I've used in the reading for those of you that are interested. And yeah, so thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Oh, thank you to those of you who also give back through the super thanks. You are very appreciated. And thank you as well to those of you who are supporting my work ongoing. I put a lot of free stuff into the world. Thank you for those of you who support that work through Patreon. I'm uploading a monthly tutorial for the Patreon people, and I hope that you're enjoying those. Super Souls, tons and tons and tons of love.